Here we are once again, everyone. Thank you so much for clicking on that video. I appreciate it. Welcome to Candle Knowledge Redux. Man, Candle Knowledge, it is a podcast about the life and lessons of my parents and the lessons that they taught me in the wake of the deaths and how I'm using it to guide my future and everything else in between. A podcast, an audio journal, a video journal, diary thing. And who am I? Jarvis Smith. Thank you so much, man, for rocking with me. It's been one heck of a journey here for this podcast. I just can't get over it. Just every single week I get to do this. It means a lot, man. So, it feels good, man. And we're in the month of October, still, obviously. And I like October for a lot of different reasons. The fall, I'm an October child, so my birthday is around the corner too. And, you know, I want to talk about health, but I want to talk about mental health because this week, at the time of this video being released, October 10th is World Mental Health Day. And man, that's really special. And I think it's something worth talking about. I talked about my health in general, just about my health journey on the Rebirth audio version of the podcast, about just kind of like some health, things I had to come across. But I think now to kind of maybe put some emphasis on my mental health, because that's been a topic of conversation for a lot of different people. So to kind of check in with my mental health as well, right here on Candle of Knowledge. And I think overall, when I think about my mental health in relation to my parents and just relation to how my life has navigated overall since my parents have been gone, and it's been a good minute since they passed, obviously. But every single day, you're reminded by them or about them. There's never a moment that I don't think about them in some form. Maybe deep thoughts to little thoughts. But when I have these different thoughts about them, I've just learned how to navigate them, navigate with it through my experiences in life and not let it be a thing that destroys me or anything like that, but just maybe empowers me. Or even if it does trigger me, understand what those triggers are and try to, and no, definitely not try, but definitely use it as a positive source of inspiration throughout my life. My creativity and my art has definitely done a lot of that for me, where I can just take these different emotions and feelings and bring them into the creativity, bring them into the art, which then goes back to my personal self because it's a form of my expression of myself and my identity. That's been the most helpful thing for me throughout the entire time, whether it be writings, stuff like this that I'm doing right here, listening to music or whatever. It's all been a part of that journey and just understanding what it is and not being afraid to go there. That I would say, and going there just means expressing into those deeper thoughts about that grieving process and having those type of conversations. I think talking with people who are in my inner circle, my brother, obviously, about this, and other family members, but in particular, my brother has been the most helpful thing too, because I think that's been great to kind of hear his perspective on how, our parents not being here in our lives have impacted him and shaped his life. But at the same time, how he's evolved and grown to be the father that he is, the partner that he is, and everything else in his life, and just being a good brother to me, but also being a good person for himself overall. And I think that's amazing too. But challenging moments do happen and they do come across. But I think that I think at this point I understand that these challenging moments will never outweigh the overall direction that I'm trying to go. And not wanting to become a victim of your own grief or sorrow or anything like that, and let that weigh you down on your own psyche and how you're bringing yourself forward in life and how you're navigating through life, and being aggressive or something like that towards experiences or other people as you meet throughout my life, because you're just dealing through certain things that you don't want to talk about. I think basically what I'm saying is, like, trying to run away from it doesn't work for me. Trying to avoid it doesn't work for me. As I talked about before, about does it get better with time? It's just like you have more understanding with time, but you just understand how to navigate through these different things. And I think that's how it's impacted on my mental health as well. Just understanding how to kind of, you know, work through these challenging moments and not become a victim of them and let them take over you. Now, another thing that I have not done throughout my mental health journey is, have I gone to a therapist? I have not gone to a therapist. And it's not because I don't believe in therapy, because I think it's really cool. And I think too, it's really cool that you can take out your phone, right? You can bring out your phone and literally have a virtual therapist and hop on a session. If you got insurance that can cover that, that's even better, and everything else in between. Like, that's really dope. But I haven't went to a therapist because I haven't felt the need to. I haven't felt like, when I say the need, I mean like organically, naturally go see a therapist. Not because someone else said it, but because I genuinely like, no, this is something I really need to really work with a professional with, to work through in my life, that I can't understand about myself. And I need someone else to kind of helped me understand. I haven't come across that moment where I feel like I was maybe trapped by my own feelings and emotions that I couldn't understand it and dissect it and break it down myself. I really do think the reason why is because I go back to my creativity and art. Uh, I think that really has played a major part in my identity and how I break down things and process things. I've definitely had some challenging moments. Obviously, again, when I think about a year ago, 2024, when my back was up against the wall, that's what it felt like to me. And I had to find, answers to questions that I was not ready to have answers for, or I did not anticipate to have answers for. Things like having to figure out what your next career move is going to be, or what your next living situation is going to be, or will you ever make money for yourself, or how you're going to provide for yourself in the future, or just basically what your future self is going to look like. All these things that are projecting towards, beyond and beyond and beyond, as far as you thinking ahead and getting worked up by thinking ahead. I was able to find answers to that through the art, through the creativity, because that all allows me to focus on myself. And whenever I'm able to focus on myself and get myself centered and calm and listen to my thoughts, that's when I'm able to find answers and direction and just again, my purpose, which I talked about, coming to that voice and just understanding who I am and what my path is and what I'm meant to be doing here on this earth for myself. So that's why I'm able to do that. And that's why I go back to saying again, I'm not afraid to go there because I feel like for me, I have to go there and understand it. I don't like no matter what activity, there's positive things you can do, but I like to do the things that do trigger the thoughts because I'm not trying to bring negative emotions, but by triggering the thoughts, it helps me dissect them and put them into perspective. And that's really what I'm trying to do, put them in perspective as I navigate my life. And if I don't go there and dive deep into those thoughts, it's just gonna be something you're constantly trying to run away from, or or trying to like dance around or whatever. Like, nah, for me, that's not the answer. It really is addressing it, facing it head on, face to face, and then just dissecting it. If it ever felt like it was bigger than me, then I couldn't do that. Then yes, I would step in and ask for help, look for professional help. But I think this approach has not gotten the best of me either. I think too for my mental health, man, it's like for me personally, I think I don't drink or smoke or do anything like that. I think staying away from drugs and stuff like that has helped out too. Like at this point in my age, I'm about to be 37 really soon. And just staying away from that stuff throughout my entire life has just been probably helpful because it's like, again, a coping mechanism, trying to find an answer using that stuff or whatever. It never was going to be for me, and using it as like some type of crutch to kind of identify. Not trying to judge people who have gone through those experiences or even currently going through that if you're watching this, but just for me, I think for my mental health, I think that would have maybe rotted certain perspectives that I have. It just wouldn't have helped me out. For me, I don't think it would have helped me out. Like, it's just not the answer for me overall. And that could be prescribed medicine too from your doctor. Let me make that clear too. When I say drugs, it can be prescribed medicines too. I mean, I just never had anything like that. And I'm fortunate to say that because not everyone is like that, and everyone has their own journeys and what they've been through, right? Their own traumas and things that they have to navigate and heal from. I get it, and I'm not trying to act like it's just again black and white like this. But, again, everyone's experiences are unique to them. But just from my experiences, it just hasn't been the case. So I think that's another reason why my mental health has been stable and good overall. But again, I think that it still is a challenge every single day. And maybe if I didn't understand that it wasn't a challenge and I just act like, oh, no, nothing affects me, nothing bothers me, then no, I think that I would have definitely found myself in a situation that's a lot tougher, or acting like nothing can't happen to me. I'm Mr. Perfect. Nothing can happen to me. No, I admitted to my flaws and my things and stuff like that that I see within myself. But again, I'm not perfect, but I continue to work on myself and understand the things that trigger me and try to work on them and identify them. And I'm not afraid to admit where I'm wrong, or not afraid to kind of own up to these different things and just to better myself and evolve. So again, these are all the different things that help me stay in tune with my mental health overall and just continue to better myself and level up and check in with myself, and having those dope conversations with my brother, having those great conversations with my inner circle, my friends and other family members that I trust, and that I lean on and stuff like that. It's very helpful, man. It's very beautiful, man. So just know that your process is your process. And I think that what you need to do is trust your process, because your process is, by trusting your process, you're trusting yourself. There are things that are tough. There are things that are dark. There are things that are just so sensitive that it's hard to get next to them because they just trigger out so much hard emotions. But I do believe if you go through that process, no matter how painful it might be, the coming out on the other side of it is really worth it. So when I hear people talking about their mental health and they talk about it openly too, I think that is really dope. I think that is really dope, actually. I don't think that's like people talking about oversharing. No, I think oversharing can just be when you just start sharing stuff with no, you know, like no end goal. You just start sharing, blabbing it, or especially when you start talking about other people and other people's experiences. But when you start reflecting on yourself with hindsight, with understanding, with healing in your voice, that's really helpful because that can help somebody else who may be struggling with that understand that and maybe take a little bit of inspiration from what you're saying, and then they can apply it to their life and just kind of carry on, man, in a positive way. I think that's the really dope thing about it. So for people who do that, who step onto these different platforms and do that, salute to you because I think that these voices are needed and that these perspectives are needed not just on, World Mental Health Day, but just in general, man. Like this is why I listen to the artists that I listen to, right? When it comes to music, whether it be rock artists, pop artists, R&B or hip hop artists, right? I listen to the artists to really say something that's really say something that's on their mind and their hearts. I don't look for them just to talk about some BS all the time or whatever. No, say something. You're about something. Give me a perspective. That's what I want to know because that inspires me about hearing your journey, your story about how you went from where you were to where you are and where you eventually will go down the line. I love that stuff, man. That's amazing. So for everyone else who's doing that, no matter if you have a big platform or you're just, in your room or you're in your studio apartment or something like that, or whatever you're doing, man, your voice matters and continue to share that voice because I think that's the most beautiful thing you can do is impact somebody who doesn't know your journey, who hasn't been through your journey, but they just learned something about your journey. And now they're looking at you. Maybe it's through the screen and you may not be able to see them, but they're looking at you and being like, man, thank you so much. You really impacted my life and changed my life and gave me something different to look at and gave me a different perspective. And I really do appreciate that.